Can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me? Let me know in the chat. Alright. So everybody, this is the first episode of Track Talk Sundays. Was originally gonna do the first live stream where I was gonna recap the Melrose games and all that. I was originally going to do that on Sunday, but life happened, so I did it on a Wednesday. I can't. Brady's not in this. Well, so basically couldn't do it last Sunday, so did it this Wednesday. Live stream for that will be down below in the description of this video sometime. But anyways, gonna be doing a live stream talking about the New Balance Grand Prix meet that happened. Gonna talk about the two high schoolers that ran really fast times as me. And then also there was a couple other meets that happened. The Dr. Sander Invitational that happened at the Armory again. There was a couple fast times that happened there. And then I'm also going to talk about the Camel City Elite meet. I believe that was in like North Carolina. So I'm going to be talking about that as well. But looks like, yep, no guest today, Jesse. Couldn't get a guest to come on, so no, Jesse, not quite sub 17 yet. I wish it was close, but not quite sub 17 yet. But I figure I'm gonna start talking about the two high schoolers that ran really fast times actually. So Colin Solomon, he was I think it was like the 13th ever high schooler to break 4 in the mile, joining a group of people such as Drew Hunter, Grant Fisher, Jim Ryan, and he ran a time of 3:58.81, and he actually beat some pros in that race. There was Robbie Andrews, Ryan Hill, so he beat some pros in that race. He won the race to become the third fastest high schooler actually. He didn't run quite faster than Hobbs Kessler or Drew Hunter, but he was the third. He became the third fastest high schooler, and he's gonna be joining NAU, the NAU cross country team. NAU's gonna just have such a stacked team next year for cross country. It's just gonna be unbelievable when you think about it, because they're gonna have Nico Young. I don't think he's going anywhere. Drew Bosley, Colin Solomon. There's Abdihamid Nur, he's probably going to be there. And then George Kush, I think he from South Africa, I believe he's still going to be there. So they're just going to have a really fast time. They're just going to be really fast this next cross-country season. I don't know if anybody's going to beat them outdoor for cross-country. It's going to be interesting with them and probably BYU going to be duking it out in cross country, but that's gonna happen in a little bit, and that's not gonna happen for like a couple months or like 6 months from now. So that's interesting that happened. And then also Lex Young, he ran 7:57.06 in the 3K. He became the second fastest high schooler to ever run the 3K indoors. He just ran under what he didn't quite beat what Nico Young ran. Nico Young ran just a little bit quicker than him, but he became the second fastest high schooler in the 3K. And now the Young brothers, they are 1 and 2 in the 3K overall for high school in terms of like fastest high school 3K time. So that's pretty interesting. And yeah, he's also the third fastest 5K. He's also ran the third fastest high school 5K time in cross country. Broke Nathan Ritzenhein's record this year at the at the, I believe it was someplace in Alabama. So, yep. So that's what happened there. What's up, Alex Runner? I don't know if they're doping Jesse. That whole Newberry Park team is just crazy. Like, when you think about, they're losing Colin Solomon this year, but they could still be they could still be the fastest high school team ever. They could even beat what they did last year, which is crazy to even think about, considering how good of a season they had last year. So, but anyways, that's kind of recapping what happened in terms of the two fastest high schooler times. In the NCAA, just a quick note, Elliott Kip Singh from Alabama, he ran a time of 3:56, ran a personal best. I don't think I'm Newberry's plug right now. I mean, I could be their plug if they wanted me to, but they also got their YouTube channel. So if you guys didn't know that the Newberry Park boys, they got the two young brothers, they got a YouTube channel. So that's pretty interesting as well. But anyways, Elliott Kip Singh in Texas, he ran 3:56. He placed 4th at the NCAA champs last year, so he's pretty quick showing up this indoor season, and we'll see what happens. Fog Dog, I think Fog Dog ran that at Melrose, and I believe he did run like 3:56, something like that. I think he fell 2 in that race. Because I think he got tangled up with Robbie Andrews, because Robbie Andrews was talking about in his post-race interview, talking about how he got tangled up. So yeah, but I believe you're right. Fog Dog did run like 3:56. So anyways, moving on, gonna talk about what type of New Balances do you wear. I really don't wear too many New Balance type shoes. I'm mostly Saucony. I mostly wear Saucony, and Saucony. I got a Brooks shoe, and that's pretty much it. But I run in a lot of Saucony shoes, so that's kind of what I've been running in so far. But anyways, moving on from high schoolers, and kind of done talking about what happened in college. Gonna talk about the Dr. Sander Invitational meet that happened at the Armory this weekend, and in the mile race that featured Colin Solomon, Eric Holt of the Empire Track Club, he came in second place behind Colin Solomon, broke 4, so nice job for him. And then we also, in this race, Ryan Hill and Robbie Andrews, they actually ran some decent times for them. They had a little kind of rough go of it. Robbie Andrews, he said he was dealing with some Achilles stuff throughout the 2019-2020 campaign. Ryan Hill, I don't think he really raced at all in 2020. I think he was injured for most of it. Ryan Hill, I think 2015 he was bronze medalist in the 5K indoors. So it was good to see him back running. I think he placed 5th, and Robbie Andrews placed 6th. So nice to see them kind of back running in the American scene. Yeah, there's a lot of JK Running Productions channels here. Most of these are not me, so I don't know. I guess I have a lot of fans out there that wanted to create JK Running Productions accounts. But anyways, moving on, talking about kind of that mile race, going to talk about the women's 800. Sage Herda, after running 4:25 in the mile at Melrose last weekend, she followed that up with her first ever pro win, winning the 800 with a time of 2:02.58. It was like 0.04 seconds off her PB, so that was a pretty good race for her first ever pro win. She's really been putting in the work. If you've seen her Strava, it's just like straight 65, 60-ish mile weeks. So she's really putting in the work, and she had followed that work up with her first ever pro win. So nice job for her. And then also in the men's 800, Shane I can't remember how to pronounce his last name, but I saw him break 4 this year at or last year when I broke like 4:43 for the mile, and he won a pro 800 race running like 146, and he runs for Atlanta Track Club. Good for him. He won the B section of the mile race at Milrose, so it was good to see him get another good performance under his belt, and nice job seeing him race really well. So that's kind of all I have to talk about in the Dr. Sander Invitational meet. Now gonna move on talking about the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix meet that happened today. So I'm gonna start out talking about the men's 3K. I missed watching some of these races live. I missed the men's 3K and I missed the women's 1500. But otherwise, I saw most of these other races. So I'm going to start out talking about the men's 3K. And I feel like I'm going to pronounce this person's name wrong. But it was like Adele Michael or something like that. And I know I'm not pronouncing his name right. But he ran a Spanish national record. So good for him. I think he ran like 8. Let me check the results here. I think... I don't think I can get the results up yet, but I think he ran under like 7:40, so good for him. He ran really quick. And Andrew Bouchard, I feel like I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but he also ran in this 3K, represents England, and he came in second place, so good for him. And Luis Grijalva improved on his national record from last meet, and he ran a time of like 7:37, I believe. And then Jake Whiteman stepping up from the mile, representing England again, and he ran under that 7:40 barrier, I believe, and he came in 4th place. So nice job for that 3K, some pretty fast times. Not quite as loaded of a field as what happened in Milrose, but still a fairly quality field, and a lot of people showed up with some decent names in that race. So now moving on from the men's 3K, talking about the men's mile. This was a very interesting race. We got Eric Zowinski. He was the pacer in this race, and he did a pretty good job pacing. I think they came through the 800 in about 150, 154. So they were like right on 350 pace, but they just fell off that second half kind of. And he ended up getting second place. He got outkicked. It was a very interesting race to watch live because he had such a big lead, and I didn't think he was gonna get beat, but he ended up getting beat by a person from Ireland. Not Ireland. I can't remember which country. It's hard to remember flag names. But Andrew Coscarone, something like that. And he beat Kobe Alexander. And Kobe Alexander, if you guys didn't know, he's an unsponsored athlete. And he ran 3:52 at Melrose. Almost beat Josh Kerr in that mile. So that Andrew person, he outkicked Kobe at the line, so that was pretty interesting. The other notable things that happened in this race, Jordy Beamish got beat in this race. He hadn't gotten beat in the mile for a while. The Sir Walter mile he ran in. I think he came in first in that one. Then he also came first in the Prefontaine Classic, the B race to the Prefontaine Classic, with a crazy kick. He really outkicked everybody. Outkicked Craig Ingles with 50 to go. So pretty interesting. So he came in 4th place this meet. There was another person from the same country of the Andrew person. Yeah, Irish, that's right, Ireland. And he came in 3rd place. So Ireland, 2 people from Ireland came 1st and 3rd. And then the American Johnny Gregoric, I think he holds the Blue G mile record. I believe he came in 6th, and he ran a time of 3:56, so a pretty decent time for in terms of like the pro scene. And then Hobbs Kessler, he also ran a personal best in this race, running 3:57. So Hobbs, he ran like 3:59 in Millrose, so he good to see he ran quicker, and good to see he ran quicker, improved on his like 3:59 performance at Millrose. Jaden, I do not. It's hard to come up with a favorite song on the fly. There's just so many good songs out there. It's just too hard to come up with one on the fly. So, but now moving on from men's mile, men's 800. I don't know which runner you're talking about. Josh Kerr came in second to Ali Howard for Melrose. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting to think about. I would prefer not to think about that. There's a lot of what ifs that would have happened in that race. That race is still singing right now. So, but anyways, gonna move on to men's 800. There was not a completely loaded men's 800 field. It would have been interesting if Donovan Brazier was in this race, but he wasn't. He's going to be racing this weekend at the Lele Grand Prix, and something that the Union Athletics Club set up. They set up. There's going to be like the Brooks Beast, some Hoka NAZ Elite people. If I have time later in the stream, I'll probably do like a prediction thing. So, anyways, if Donovan Brazier would have been in this race, it would have been interesting. But Bryce Hoppel, he came in second place. He got outkicked by Mariano Garcia, who ran 1:44, a Spanish national record. And he right now he actually holds the world lead for the 800 in the world. So good for him. Interesting to see Bryce Hoppel get outkicked, especially after his Millrose Games performance. But Bryce Hoppel came in second place in this race. So after that, moving on to women's 3K, and this race was pretty much Gabriella Debus-Stafford. I can't remember. I don't know how to pronounce this other Ethiopian girl name. I believe she ran the steeplechase, but she was in the 3K indoor, and she was a part of Abi something like that. I think I really butchered her name, but that's okay. She ran a really good race though. And then Josette Norris, what ended up happening was Gabriella Debus-Stafford, she ended up with a crazy kick with like 100 to go. She just sailed right past the person from Ethiopia, and she just had such a crazy kick. You knew when Bowerman and Jerry Schumacher, you knew when they had somebody ran. You knew when they had her in the race that she was going to be there to run fast, and she ended up actually setting a new Canadian national 3K record. So really, she really cooked it the last 100. I think the record was like 8:40, so she broke it by like 6-7 seconds. She ran 8:33. The person from Ethiopia, I don't want to mess up her name again, but she ran like 8:37, and no, she ran quicker than 8:37. And then Josette Norris, she ended up coming in third place after her 420 mile in Millrose. So she did really good too, and it was quite an interesting race. It was just the three people from the gun pushing the pace. So really interesting. That was a pretty interesting race, kind of like the Millrose 3K that happened with Alicia Monson and Winnie Colati. Yeah, Alex Runner, you're right. A decent amount of these athletes are racing every week. Like Nikki Hiltz too, who I'm going to talk about later. She raced last week at Millrose. Josette Norris, she raced the mile in Millrose. So Bryce Hoppel too. So you do have a point there. They're racing a lot, and interesting. A lot of people are racing indoors. not a lot of pros, I guess, don't want to spend a lot of time talking about indoors. So, yeah, there's a decent amount of people racing indoors a lot. Well, he doesn't have a new coach. He's still got the same coach. He's got Donovan Brazier's coach is Pete Julian, I believe, with the Union Athletics Club, which is the new Nike group. Basically, what was left of the Nike Oregon project. They kind of started their own group, so that's what the Union Athletics Club is. Now, another thing to note about that women's 3K, Ellie St. Pierre, who basically dominated the Melrose Mile, the Melrose Wanamaker Mile. She did not race here because she did not race in the 3K she was supposed to, but apparently she was sick. She posted that on her Instagram, so it would have been really interesting to see her in this race, but sadly, no, she was not in this race. Now, anyways, moving on from women's 3K, going to talk about women's mile or women's 15. I think it was a women's 1500. And there was a person from Spain. I don't want to mess up her name. Oregon. But a person from Spain won the women's mile. And who actually came in second, Heather Mclean. She represented the U.S. in the Olympics. She's a part of the same pro group as Elliott St. Pierre, which is the New Balance Boston group. And she came in second place, running a time of 4:12. And then behind her, there was three other Americans, Nikki Hiltz. She ran like 4:12. Then Danny Jones and Corey McGee that represent New Balance on Team Boss. Danny Jones just beat Corey McGee. So that's kind of what happened in the women's mile. There was one other meet. I didn't quite get to do a ton of analysis on this other meet, but I have like the women's 3K, women's mile race. I took screenshots of that results, and I can look them up. And for that meet, it was there is a lot of strong athletes, Spanish athletes, and we're not even talking about Mo Katir, who absolutely deserved like most improved runner last year. I think he ran like he just improved his times by the same amount. It was just crazy. You got a really good point with that, Alex Runner. So, all right. So women's 3K, Ellie Hines, she representing Adidas. She came in first place. She beat Rachel Smith, formerly Rachel Snyder. She married Mike Smith, who is the coach of NAU, and she won that. She came in third place in that 5K. It was the 3K. My bad. I think it was the 3K. And she didn't race at Melrose. She was supposed to race at Melrose, but apparently she got sick, and she just didn't feel like she was going to put a very good performance she wasn't going to do a good performance, so she was at this Camel City Elite meet instead of Melrose. The prize purse was actually pretty good for this meet. I think how the prize purse went was first place got $6,000, second place got $4,000, third place got $2,000, and then fourth place got $1,000. So there was a lot of prize money involved with this meet, and Ellie Hines, she ended up getting first place in that 3K. And also in the men's 800, Clayton Murphy, he bounced back from getting last actually in the Melrose Mile. I think he ran like 4:05, bounced back to run like 1:48. So nice job, Clayton Murphy, coming back. He was supposed to do the mile, but I looked at the results and he didn't have a time for that. So I think he just decided to not race the mile after running the 800. So that's kind of the big events that happened in track and field this weekend. Now I kind of want to do a little bit of a do my predictions on the Lilac Grand Prix meet with the Union Athletics Club and everything going on with that. So, gonna talk about that meet. Let me pull up the heat sheets, or what's going on with the heat sheets for that. The one thing I wish for these meets, they made it super easy for you to just search up results and stuff like that. Sometimes it's difficult. So let's start out. I'm going to give my predictions for the men's 1500. Yep, you're right, Alex Runner. But so the Elliott Grand Prix meet. This is a pretty interesting meet. There's a lot of a lot of groups there. Got the Union Athletics Club, as I said before, the newly formed Nike group. Got some of the Brooks Beast there, and also got some Oregon Track Club guys. So I'm going to give my predictions for the men's 1500. So in the start list, got Brandon Kidder, who he actually ran, I think he placed like top 6 or something at the American Trials. I don't know who you're talking about that got added to the On Club, Jesse. But there's Brandon Kidder, Charlie Hunter, who he ran like 148. He came in like second to last place in the 800 at Melrose. I was surprised he didn't run quicker. That was really surprising me. Henry Wayne, who kind of had a rough start to his season at Melrose. Eric Avelia, he won the road title for the men's mile. Isaiah Yorks. Luis Grijalva, who I said before, holds the national record for Guatemala in the 3K, represents Hoka. And then a couple Oregon Track Club guys. So for me in this men's 1500, I'm probably going to pick Luis Grijalva to win this race. I believe he ran like in the Dome and NAU. I think he ran like 4:04. So I think he can really run fast this meet, and he is my pick to win the men's 1500. Now women's 1500, there's some Team Boss athletes. There's some Brooks Beast athletes. Ellie, I can't say her last name, but it's a different Ellie, not the Ellie Ostrainer on the Brooks Beast that left. But anyways, she's in the 1500. Got a couple Oregon Track Club Adidas, and also got Corey McGee, Danny Jones, a Team Boss. So kind of an interesting field. Constant. I'm gonna mess up her name, but there's another person representing Germany, and who I think is gonna win this race. This is a toss-up for me, not gonna lie, but I'll probably pick the person. I'll put her name in the chat here, but I think it's gonna be an interesting race. I think Corey McGee and Danny Jones, I think they could win this race. But that's women's 1500. I'll do men's 3K prediction. And I probably won't go too much longer. I'll probably go another 10 minutes. So but anyways, men's 3K got Ben Blankenship. I believe I don't think he does now, but he held the world lead for the 3K for a while. I think he ran like 7:42, so a solid time for him. David Ribich, I think he ran like under 3:56 for a converted indoor mile. Jake Hayward, he ran 3:53 in the mile. A person from Gonzaga, Sam Gilman on the Air Force. I think he ran like sub 13:20. Like 13:24 at the BU meet with that featured the NAU boys that ran really quick, and Waleed Suleiman, who came in third place in the men's 1500 US in the US trials. So this race is really interesting to me, but in this race I'm probably gonna go Jake Hayward is probably gonna win this. And I think David Ribich, I think he'll probably come in second. I just think for this race, it's going to be... This race, I think, is going to be pretty competitive. I think Sam Gilman, he definitely has a chance of winning this. I think he ran 4:06 in the Colorado indoor facility, or the Colorado indoor, not Colorado, the Air Force indoor track, and I think that converted to, I think his time of like 4:06 converted to like a 3:56 mile. So I think he's definitely got potential in this race, and I think he definitely has a shot of winning it. The men's 800, they don't have a field for the men's 800. I believe Donovan Brazier is going to be... Oh, wait. I believe Donovan Brazier is either going to be racing the 600 or the 800 at this meet. So it's going to be interesting what Donovan Brazier does, and or what time he runs. He ran a 400-meter personal best last week or at Millrose. So it's going to be interesting to see what he decides. It's going to be interesting to see what he can run after not racing an 800 or anything above a 400 for a very long time. With that, everybody, though, that's pretty much a lot of what happened in track and field and kind of my Elliott Grand Prix, that big meet that's happening next week. That's my predictions for that. Is there any other questions you guys have in the chat that you guys want me to talk about the Oregon doping? I don't think the Oregon Project, I don't think those people were doping, but it's definitely, Nike Oregon Project is definitely interesting. I don't know who Wayne Kerr is. I know who Josh Kerr is, but Wayne Kerr. If you guys... Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say what he's gonna run for. Even when it's hard to say what Donovan would run for the 800, because I mean, he ran that 400, but even with his time that he ran, which was like fifth, I can't remember what he ran, but even with the time he ran, he tried to pass people with he tried to pass a ton of people. He tried to pass the two people leading 3 times, but he didn't. He couldn't make that pass. So I honestly don't know what Donovan could run, but I definitely think he I definitely think he's definitely a contender in terms of 800-meter American running. Favorite running YouTube channel besides mine? Probably Seth James Damore. And Ben Parks. Haven't watched a ton of running YouTubers lately. Or I still watch running YouTubers, but just with college, I haven't had a ton of time to watch a ton of different channels. But I like Seth James Damore. I always like his videos, and Ben Parks. I really like him. I'm glad to see he's kind of healthy and coming back, and he's doing workouts, and it's good to see him running out there, getting the work in, getting the grinding, getting it done. Yeah, the chat is a little bit different than how the chat was the first time. So, yep. But guys, I'll probably go another like 5-ish minutes, and then I'll probably end this stream. But there's not a ton more to talk about. There's one other thing to talk about. Josh Kerr, he kind of took a jab at American milers and kind of saying they're soft in a way, which I don't necessarily agree with that, because his whole argument was Americans don't run with fast. They don't want to stick with like the pacer and run like 350 or whatever. And I mean, I think there is some truth to that, But even when you watch that like Milrose mile race, like Craig Engels tried to race with Ollie Hoare, and he tried to race with Ollie Hoare and Josh Kerr. He just kind of fell off that last 400. I mean, we saw Kobe Alexander. He went out with them with the pacer, another American miler. So I think there's some truth to what he's saying, but I still think that, I mean, American milers are, there's just something about the mile, I think, and I don't think American milers are soft necessarily. I mean, we saw with Cole Hawker, he was running fast times. I mean, he placed 6th in the Olympics. So, I mean, I don't think there's a crazy amount of truth to that, but yeah, Josh Kerr's an interesting runner. He likes to talk a lot, I guess you could say, and he's backed it up a lot, but he couldn't quite win the Milrose. Yeah, I mean, Josh Kerr, I mean, British runners aren't great at it. I mean, Josh Kerr, he did get bronze, but I mean, there's a lot of like British milers that are pretty good, but in a way, I mean, when you think about after the Olympics, this is like ever since the Olympics happened when Matt Centrowitz, when he was able to win with what happened in the Olympics with that such slow of a race, like there has been not so much any slow 1500 meter or mile races that have happened in the Olympics. So that's kind of interesting how Matt Centrowitz kind of changed everything. But I mean, the mile to me is one of my favorite events to watch. So the thing that, yeah, I mean, everybody talks about trying to get in like America. Everybody talks about trying to get a like circuit going for like pro cross country, but I don't know how many people in America would do like pro cross country. Because like I've listened to a couple podcasts, and the Bowerman guys, they talk about how just like with having to go through 3 seasons basically, like mentally they said it would just be like too draining for them. And in a way, when you think about like the college system for like the NCAA and stuff like that, I mean, it is a pretty brutal when you think about it with indoors, outdoors, cross country. But yeah, British runners, they do have a lot of, I would say there's a lot of truth to saying they have a lot of strength. But guys, I think I'm probably gonna end the live stream today, and yeah, this is I want to try and do this every Sunday. I want to try and if you guys have any last minute questions before I wrap this up, just let me know. But kind of want to keep this pretty casual, talking about what's going on within track and field. I mean, there's like Citius Mag, there's Lab Count, talking about like the news that's happening in track and field. But originally I wanted to make a video talking about the events that are happening in track and field, but for me to have to edit another video on top of what I'm already doing, I knew it would just be too much. So I'm hoping these live streams can be something that I can keep doing in the future. I am enjoying them, like today's live stream. I mean, it wasn't quite as many people as the first live stream that I did, but I'm hoping to continue these live streams. And let me know, guys. Comment down below for this video if the time worked out at Sunday 3 p.m. And let me know if you guys want it to be later. But with that, everybody, though, I'm probably going to sign this or end this live stream. And thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. But as always, grind, never